Update settings, start video transition, and we are ready. Sign into chat. Why am I signing into chat? Okay. I can hear myself. That's good. I'm gonna say we are started because some of the time it just stops and waits. I don't understand why that happens, but in a live stream anything can happen, right? So since it's a live stream and we're just on the beginning, I know there will be people who will come after the stream ends, and I want to give a quick introduction while people decide to join, see the notification, tap it, and all. Right now, what we're gonna work on is actually something that I was working on for a long time. It's kind of 85% finished thing, and I want to talk about the decisions I made for this. It's not so different than a demo. It actually is, but we'll come to that later. It's Epica Unleashed. Epica is one of the best bands that I know, especially the symphonic metal scene. It's just kind of pretty interesting to me, and I wanted to make some covers because it's been a long time that I was planning to come up with a full remake just for Epica, because it's a big opportunity for me to learn how to work with an orchestra, how to orchestrate things. And I think a cover is the best thing for that. And of course, I'm not gonna transcribe and play a Mozart song. Sorry, a piece. I'm not quite sure if it's called song, but anyway, a Mozart piece would be a little bit harsh for me, and it's kind of not my genre, isn't it? It's metal with orchestration. That's what I do, and that's actually what Epica is. I really like those guys. I saw them live on 2018. It was one of the best experiences. Isaac was just next to me, just, he came from the stage, he was just playing live, and he was just next to me. It was kind of pretty interesting experience, and it stuck with me, of course. And from the first seconds of hearing Simone's voice, I just said, yeah, okay, I'm gonna listen to this band forever. I kind of fell in love immediately. So yeah, that's why I'm making this, and this is actually gonna be a collaborative collab post, basically. I have a friend who does vocals. I mean, no shit. And before she's getting ready for recording and all, I decided to make the whole thing kind of working, because normally vocal layer is not going to instrumental bus, it just goes to the mix bus. And since I have all of the setup and I'm kind of responsible for making this thing happen, as a full remake, of course, I can just strip the guitars, but that's not the goal, right? That's not what I am trying to achieve here. I kind of used the bad written guitar profiles and strip the orchestration to make sure if it's good or not. It's kind of decent, 40-50%. I'm just gonna share mine unless someone tries to, buy it from me. But I think I fixed most of them, except a couple sections, but I'm not quite sure if I will touch those areas. And lastly, I, as a disclaimer, want to talk about one thing. This thing is not kind of finished. It's 85%. We'll do some automations and stuff. Maybe in a live stream I will add and remove a couple of stuff. So just try, just understand that I'm not talking about a finished released product here, released song here. I worked on this thing, and I think it's decent to show, and it's in a place where I am kind of okay to show to you guys. So with that being said, I want to check the live stream for one more time. Okay, you can hear me. That is a good thing. So I want to show you the whole thing. If you don't know the song, please just listen, because you know that's what the goal is, right? We are doing a remake, and since it is a remake, you probably need to know the original song, otherwise it's not going to be useful for you. You are going to listen everything. I am not muting anything here. This is going to be the full cover. Before talking about it, I have to show to you guys, so please listen with me once more. So I'll take some mental notes, and you will be able to listen the whole mix, and after that we will start from master bus. We're gonna talk about the mix bus. We will continue with instrument bus, which should have actually the plugins that I put to mix bus. It's gonna be interesting. Maybe I need to move a couple of things, but yeah, let's hear it. I think I need to fix a couple things along the way, so it's gonna be pretty interesting to do it also in live. So this is Epica Unleashed instrumental, at least for now, Remake. So now you heard the whole mix. I took some notes, kind of mental notes, and right now we can talk about what we're gonna do basically. We'll start by, I need to reopen this mix window. It's kind of here, but you won't be able to see it. It's just for me accessing the microphone here so I can talk to you guys. I'm sending it kind of in the DAW. That's why this is kind of important, because if I just close input monitoring, you won't be able to hear me. That's so for the best choice that I have, doing it inside the DAW. If you know how to do it from Apollo's interface, let me know. So I wanna start by choosing the middle chorus because it doesn't have the key change. There was a key change, and it still has everything kind of included, the whole orchestration. So I wanna start with that. So if we open the mix window, is it mix window? What it's called? It's mixer basically. Yeah. Right now we have the master stuff, which is kind of not as good as a demo, because it's kind of something that I put like temporary. It's kind of temporary because I don't want to touch it deeply without having the vocals in it. With instrumental stuff, okay, I need to do it again, at least to present it well, and it's kind of decent enough, but it's kind of automated as well. So automated meaning auto mastering, of course, not doing an automation inside the AW, but it's still kind of decent. At least we have a couple of moves there. So you probably saw this thing before, the most expensive plugin that I have with Soothe. It's kind of, Gullfoss is basically doing a lot of cool stuff. It's, I think, part of binaural processing. They analyze the whole mix and making dynamic moves in a way that you're gonna hear everything as open as possible. This includes everything, like it balances the drums, brings the orchestra, smoothing the vocal, and anything, you name it. It can be other way around. It depends on how good or bad your mix is, but this one still helps. It doesn't matter. And it has only a couple of parameters for mastering. I'm not pushing these things too much. I brighten it a little bit because most of the time the mixes that I have lacking the high end, I am seeing that through Ozone when we open this and this one. Oh, interestingly, this one had enough high end and Ozone tried to balance it. By the way, this is a bad graph. Normally what you need to what you want to see is something like maximum 1 dB, maybe even less movements done by auto mastering. If your midsection is too populated and you didn't separate them well, you didn't push them well, your mix is missing a lot of mid-range, this happens. And again, this is just a temporary thing, so I'm not even bothering that much. We have a dynamic EQ here, which doing certain moves here and there, but it doesn't touch the bass, so I think I did at least a decent job there. And lastly, we have a maximizer. While doing a remake, I'm not trying to match the exact loudness as the original song, but it is an idea that I am thinking about. Right now I set it to minus 12.5, which is decent. Streaming platforms is around minus 14. People in pop music pushes like 6, minus 8. And all I was thinking here to check the peaks and act accordingly, because I don't want to push it too much, but it may change soon, basically. And we talk about Gulfos and what it does, because I don't have to talk about it with the mix one. The other one is mastering. This one is for mixing, so you use one for mastering chain, and the other one is on a mix bus. That's why they're in different places, and that's why they have different moves. Apparently I didn't recover here too much. That's a bit of interesting, but yeah, besides that, that's what I want to talk about. And maybe I should push this back to 0. Okay, I want to hear it like that. Other than that, we have a beautiful preset here, balanced to Grammy Awards. I put it in every single master, but normally it's supposed to be used before the limiter, so I should move it. I don't know why I moved that after the limiter. Interesting. And the last one is just for referencing. There's an imager, but it's basically doing nothing. I put my references in a different instance so I can add as many sections as I want, and I am not going to lose it. And since it's a remake, I have only one reference as I should, and that's the original song. So a certain section, I didn't name them, but yeah. Like that. I think if I can fix the fight between guitar and string a little bit more and have a clean vocal chain, that could fix my mid issues. But besides that, that's what I have. And on the mix bus, I have something that I should actually move to instrumental bus. I hope it's not gonna mess with everything, because it was kind of something that I fear that I have to move certain things. Normally you put those to instrumental bus and tame the snare, but actually I'm not gonna move it right now because I'm not quite sure how big that change will be. Normally I'm assuming there will be one compressor that does not too much stuff, and I have to move this gray and red to instrumental bus. But yeah, we're gonna see about that. The goal here is to push the kicks and definitely snare, because I always check the snare, glue it to the mix. Same goes for this one, but it's not doing too much compression, but this one does. But I also take care of not touching the bass frequencies. These are actually noise presets, so I basically just use that. Alternatively, there's also this glue preset. It's nice if you're making something punchy. There's also punchy preset that you can work on it, but whatever you're using, definitely check this one, and please don't touch your bass while doing it, otherwise you will also compress that, and this is not always something that you or you want to go for. So if I play the chorus, I'm expecting like -4, not -4, 4 dBs of compression. Same goes for this one, but it shouldn't pass 1. It can go a little bit higher, but I don't want it too compressed. If I have to do that, maybe there's an issue with the instrumental bus, or orchestra bus does something that I don't want to send it to the mix bus that way. as you just heard, if I close this, it just messes with the snare right away. That's why I normally start with those, and I work on the kick, I work on the snare, then I add this to mix bus, these both, and after that I go back and I continue. And I don't know if that's the best move, but it's certainly paid off, at least so far. And let's continue. We have this goal force that we talked about. Okay, this one I am planning to take this out, but it was beneficial. Normally it is on instrumental bus as mentioned here, but I pulled this mix so behind because this distressor is normally planned to work with the drum bus, because even though the name is instrumental bus magic, it's actually not moved it to the drum bus. So I may change this in the future, but I certainly hope that it's not gonna be a big move. Maybe the stressor can stay, but these will go, or I'll just reset them and work on them a little bit. And I put a trimmer to create space for the master. This will be also something that I am kind of working on. Even though I said 85%, I will just pull all the buses back, and after that I will recheck the whole thing. Maybe I can work on the whole mix bus processing and make sure that I don't have to trim when I go to master bus. So that's why you are seeing over 0 on the faders most of the time, especially with the instrumental bus. It, I think, goes 1.5, but it's actually trimmed before the master, so you don't have to worry about that. And that's why I need to move those compressions to there, because it's snares issue that I'm seeing those numbers in the instrumental bus. That being said, I want to continue with the drum bus, but before that I want to check the stream and if you're hearing everything. Okay, we are hearing everything. I mean, I'm hearing everything, and I assume that you also do. We have Maurice here, my favorite Insta bro. That's I have to hold the mic for this. That's wrong, bro. I'm sure I'm not your favorite, but I'm your pal to the end. So welcome to the stream. I only hope that it will be also beneficial for you if you're interested on something like this, and I hope you are good, man. I want to talk about the drum bus. Let's open this thing first. The real issue here, we only have overheads on the architects. I like the cymbals, and I really want to have a lot of cymbals. A lot of cymbals meaning for me that I can actually choose my cymbals. When I only use P5 on covers, sometimes I do not have the exact, I mean, exact is a strong word. I don't have a similar timbre on the cymbals area. So yeah, for this I got some help, but this is only and only for an augmentation on a hi-hat, and anything else is actually kind of closed. And I'm also not including the room. That is pretty important, because normally when I do the augmentation, I'm not doing any processing, like, I should add that to the room, it should be kind of heard in a different way. I should do some EQ, then add a bit of reverb so it will sound like it's gonna be in the room, so I can send it. That's, to me, it's a huge bullshit. So of course maybe it's something that other people do. I don't think so, by the way. But yeah, I only use P5, for rest of the stuff, I have a mid-tune snare. I got it from nowhere basically. There's no preset. It's just from startup. I added bunch of things. I changed tones a little bit, and here and there I have some extra turbo stuff because I like noise processing on this stuff. And if I use turbo, I'll sound like any other guy, but I want to just make my own twist with this. But still, turbo does a pretty good job with EQ, and I don't want to lose that, so I added a little bit, at least some of the moves when I use a turbo really sounds, it was quite beneficial basically. Well, I can't hear it. When I click here, I should be able to hear. Wow, I think it's a contact issue. Interesting. Anyway, we got the kick, which has again a turbo on the kick in. Kick out also has a little bit. Okay, and the rest is kind of same. I didn't touch anything at all besides this one. I'll check comments again. 1 millisecond. Maurice says that I'm doing good, mate. Hope you too. I'm good, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I would be much better if I could see you next week. But yeah, it is what it is. I will definitely see you in somewhere. Maybe I'll come to your area. Maybe you'll come to my area. I don't know. But yeah, I'm good. Thanks so much. Where was I? I will start with the kick. Probably when I solo this, you won't be able to hear me solo the vocals first. Okay, then solo the kick. I think you can hear me, so I will actually talk about what I did at first, and after that I'm just gonna close those. And I don't want to do it something like, showing every single plugin what it does. I can do it, but I have a huge buffer size, so we're gonna wait out for a long time. I'll just talk about it a little bit and show you full AB, because the rest of the stuff is kind of same with the other demos. So I took a bit of low. I don't want those build-ups, so that's why I just put a high pass. I pushed a little bit on the root, and I know bass root note is also around here, so we're gonna come to that. And to make it a little bit more metal kick, and since there's already a turbo a little bit, I just took the mids out. I could do a little bit more, but I didn't, and I gave a little bit small presence. It doesn't look small, but it actually is, because I continued with fresh air. Fresh air is good. I started to use fresh air. It's a free plugin, by the way. You can just get it. I was doing Monuments in Stasis kind of drum mix, and that drum mix I think paid off. It was really good. I used that in a couple of songs, and in Stasis, kicks have this huge presence and high frequencies, and you literally hear the kick is breathing. And I really like that, and I used it. And I'm not gonna lie, most of the time I'm using these presets, and I change them immediately, just pulling those EQs back to 0, just pushing them like 10 dB, 5 dB, depends on where I'm looking for. I try to find a frequency where it makes sense. If I don't like it, I just cut it out. If it's kind of the bass frequency, like the root note, I push it a little bit. And I really like this compressor, and I don't change it, but I change normally sometimes the attack. This is kind of a vintage stuff. but still, to me it works fine. And now I want to show you a full AB. I don't know how to close all of them, so I will just do this. But yeah, the next one is, by the way, the Soothe. Let me talk about all of them. So this is sidechain to bass, which we'll come to that. And I basically put it here. Whenever bass does something, it creates a very selective cut. It's dynamic. It's like using a multi-band compressor, but I don't want to touch kick's own frequencies, and they're clashing in this area a lot. Maybe I should make it a little bit closer. But when I run it, when I play it, you'll see that it's cutting not good enough chunk. Whoa, system overload. Let's try again. Okay, I need to play everything. Sorry. How can I do? Okay, like this. Let's check if you can hear me. Yeah, you can. I will also A/B that, so don't worry. But let's take our solo back at first. Now I want to talk about the last one, which is just a tape machine. I just try to push it a little bit for a small saturation, and I like this, tape. I just put it everywhere, almost everywhere, and it also increases the volume a little bit, so it's kind of important to take care. So I'm gonna show you without anything, and I'm gonna add everything together, bit by bit. Okay, so that's about the kick. We also have a parallel processing for kick and snare and toms and a bit of rhythm guitar. I will also check that with you, but I want to talk about snare next. So what do we have? Started again having a very big root push plus a little bit of high presence, and I again cut the mids a little bit in this area. I don't know the exact term, they say boxiness or terms like that. I hear it, I don't like it, I cut it. I push it, I don't like it, I cut it. I work like that. I don't know the terms at least yet. I always hear that on Nolly's videos or other mix videos, but it's not like it doesn't make any sense. It actually does, but when I hear it, I should be able to tag them myself. For that reason, I'm not gonna talk about those terms like boxings and stuff. I just got a huge chunk here because there's not going on. There's nothing going on basically. Yeah. But still, even if there's not much stuff, like you have the guitars and you think that they are not low and all, but all these tracks, all these instruments, the whole orchestral bus with all the instruments, they add up, and when they add up, they push the bass. If you have untreated environment where you cannot hear those, and with headphones it's kind of possible to a certain point, but with in an untreated room and with monitors, it will be both inaudible to a certain frequency. For example, I have Kali LP6s and it starts from like 37, 39 hertz, but I should be able to hear 20 and above, not 37 and above. So there's still something going on there, and if you cannot hear it, you cannot process it, you cannot cut it, you cannot push it, you cannot do anything basically with it. For that reason, I'm also doing some cuts They may seem unnecessary, but I think it doesn't. So I use here punchy snare preset. I increase the thickness, and I checked again the compressor. Sometimes I change the circuit, sometimes I push the mix knob just a little bit, like 90-95, depending on the sound and the mix I'm looking for, but pretty much the rest is the same. I just don't want to push the highs too much. That's about it. That's why you have very small movement here and nothing at all going here. So yeah, the next one is the Soothe again, but it is whose preset is this? Drums. Yeah, this is from No One. This is from No One, and I like No One's dampen the snare preset. That is helping a little bit to me, like taming the transients, and it's cool. So, and yeah, we have the virtual tape machine again, just adding the tape. It's like I want analog kind of attitude, but yeah, that's what I do. I don't have a reverb bus, at least yet, and I just put this to test it out. I think I will change with the Space Designer, but it sounds okay, and I wanted to add just a little bit of reverb to wait. Let me. I think it's pretty solid and it does a lot. So I may keep it because I liked how it is processed, and it made it a little bit closer to the sound I was looking for the remake. And I again put gain. I put gain everywhere. I learned that trick from Connor Kaminsky, because you automate through the faders and you gain stage through the gain plugin. When you do it, it's much easier to work with it, because if you change something through fader and you already automated it, you may forget that, and it's much easier to using UI and the automate UI. I was trying to show it to you, this one. It's much easier to work with this, and when you need to push, I don't want to add another section, push it or pull it back a little bit. It's kind of hassle, and I didn't like it. So we're gonna hear the whole thing, and I am going to add everything again, one by one. But for that, I think it would be really beneficial if I choose a section to show it. Okay, we are going to start by closing everything, and I will add on time. Every single shot will be okay. In every single shot I will add another. Maybe that's too fast, I don't know. Let's hear about it. Last one is actually making a huge difference. I think I'll split it into two plugins. One is doing a bit more EQ and cut, just to make it a little bit like the original, and after that I'll think about it again if I should do a different reverb bus or not. I'll check the comments, but before, okay, I can send you. Okay, we have a couple of comments. Morris, my bro, says that yeah, that would be great. Still sad I cannot make it. Dude, I'm also sad that you're not making it. Pretty sad. But I will definitely see you. NPS 1337, welcome to the stream. I know you now. Hi, how are you, bro? Long time no see. Indeed, thank you so much. Sound is good, bro. Feel like reverb. I think you're talking about snare reverb, so that is actually pretty good. But I hope you're not talking about my mic, because I didn't put anything to my reverb, my sound. So I will again close this one, and I need to see the mixer just to show you guys everything. Actually, I can also show it through here. Maybe I should just, in 20-30 seconds, I will do my best to do a recap, because I also need to show what's happening here. I mean, I show you guys the plugins, but still, at least the order, it's kind of important maybe. For the kick, we got EQ here, then we got the whole move, and I'm using the preset here. After that, I push with the fresh hair, another EQ move, and we got the soothe against the bass guitar. And right now, the last thing is virtual tape machines. I didn't put a gain plugin yet, but maybe I can. Again, it's kind of 80-85% finished. For the snare, let's talk about in 10-20 seconds. We got the EQ move first. Then after, I'm using this punchy snare preset and changed it a little bit to my taste. And I also changed the compression values and added a bit of thickness. And after that, we used Soothe to dampen it. It's a no-name plugin. And after that, we have the virtual tape machines. And after that, we are adding a reverb. That's maybe changed pretty soon. And the last thing is the gain, just to do gain staging. The next thing is the toms. And actually, since we are at the toms, I think it's much better to continue with the drum bus, because there's a lot going on and they're all against snare and kick most of the time. So after that, we will continue with the other ones. So we have this drum bus polish. I didn't touch too much to this, to be honest, and I like this one pretty much. And I will do these ABs again in order, so you can also hear how it's kind of useful. We have the SSL native bus compressor, since Slate is supporting or providing basically SSL plugins. This never ever left the drum bus, and it's pretty great. The sad thing is I never clicked oversampling even once. So that would be actually pretty good if I do some oversampling here, and maybe I can do an AB with that. And I am doing like 4 dB reduction. Normally I'm not using multiple compressors. It's kind of first to me, and normally I'm pushing like 8, maybe even more, because I want to tame the snare here. That's what this one is here for. The next one is the instrumental bus magic that I was talking about. This is the Nolly's preset. It's extremely famous, I'm not joking. Normally it doesn't have the distressor, but this distressor is part of drum bus, and don't let this name fool you. Nolly actually moved the whole processing, what's happening here, to drum bus from instrumental bus. So I think they need an update here, and that's why I want to remove those EQ moves. But they were quite cool and beneficial for me in the mix bus. That's why I didn't take it out. But it's again something that I took a mental note, and I will definitely check it out. The next one is again a tape. Also increasing the volume a little bit, and like up to a dB. and I'm normally not changing the bias, and I work on these guys and try to identify the sound, especially the low end, and after that I make sure if I want to have it or not, and most of the time I want to have it. And we have a huge cut on the drum bus, like 10 dB, and the reason is I'm not changing the source values or the fundamental bus, fundamental gains, unless I don't need to. That's why here I don't have a gain plugin on a kick. Okay, you can hear me, right? Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure, like, I'm talking to nothing. After that, okay, we'll do an A/B. I'm not gonna, or wait, okay. I'm gonna solo the drum bass. You won't be able to hear me for a couple seconds or minute. And I will close everything here. We will still have the plugins on instrumental bass, which does not have anything. It's on a mix bass. We will have those plugins, but anything else, I think it's pretty cool, especially when SSL joins. It is pretty damn good. I really liked it. That's why I put it there. And it definitely glues the kick and definitely snare to the whole drum bus. So that's why I really like it. So the next one is the tom, as promised. So I have small processing, again, some presets that are working dynamically, which is also an important point. And maybe I could just put some static to prevent buildup. Did I? Oh, yeah, of course I did. And for the toms, again, I cut the mids a little. And again, for the source tones, which is normally around here, I'm adding a small boost. I want to have those above the others, and I want to hear it well. And with Saturn combined, it is working like a charm. And of course, I prevent the bass build-up here. And we have, again, metal and rock. I'm not gonna say rock, it's metal preset most of the time. For the rack tom and the floor toms. And I didn't change, if I'm mistaken, these values, because I'm not kind of good when it comes to toms. That's why I didn't want to touch too much, but I checked the compressions and set up a value that makes sense to me. Not a big move. Let me, yeah, very, very subtle. And last thing, which is pretty important, normally I'm not doing this, but I have this friend. We know each other, but we never ever had a deep conversation. But he's a pretty good guy. His name is Meli, and he has this solo project called Acera. He's doing fall stuff, and what I experienced with his project, he shared a couple of stories, and I was checking, and it was kind of interesting to see. He's putting Saturn in all toms instead of the bus. I experimented with it. I think this one is a little bit more CPU friendly, but his approach I think is a little bit better. So if you wanna do what I'm gonna talk about in a second in each tom, I think it could be a little bit better, because I really liked how he's handling those. So what I do is basically split the toms in different frequencies as a band, on satin, and I drive and push the highs. This gives toms presence and air, and without pushing them too much, including the parallel processing send, I am able to hear them. And after this move kind of worked, I just stuck with it because I don't want to push things too much, but I do. I hate it, but it happens, and that's why I have this here. So the last one's gain. You already know what it is, so let's do a small A/B by adding everything. Maybe I should find a little bit more populated area. Maybe this one? Okay, let's hear it. It has a little bit too much decay. I tried to fix it with the envelope in a P5 kit. Maybe I can change it a little bit and make it a little bit with less decay or release. It kind of depends. I need to work on that a little bit more, but I actually like it because it's I A/B that to the reference, which is the original song, and it was kind of beneficial. The next one is the overheads, and although there's a lot to do here, I use this mod control preset on per Q3. I did a cut for getting out those bleeds from kick and snare, and I pushed it a little bit. This is not a little bit, but it sound okay to me, so I left it as it is. Normally I'm doing this move from 5k, but this time I changed a little, just moved it around, and it made sense, so I left it. So it's just I heard it, I act on it, I think it's okay. Let me click chorus again. The next one is the metal overheads preset, which does a lot of good things with only 2 instances. And this EQ move, I didn't even change a thing. Normally I push this one back because I had the at this per Q3. I normally don't do this move. I still have the cut, but I take this push back. And we have the compression as always. And I also try to work on it. I add a little bit of fresh air. I know I pushed it a little bit too much on this one. That's why I set it back. But, oh, I didn't. That's even more interesting. I think with the automation, I have to change it soon. But yeah, let's talk about that later. We have a small saturation move, extremely small. I cannot see the percentage. Damn. So it's kind of, I don't know, 5, 10, 15%, something like that. And I push just a little to make it more present. Because the next step, I have a soothe to smooth it up. Maybe I should switch them, but if I put the saturation first, this soother makes it a little bit controlled. That's why I normally start with the saturation, or I just work on that a little bit. We're gonna hear an A/B, and I will check the comments in a second. So let's start with nothing, obviously, and I will add up one by one. That's how it sounds. I send it to parallel bus, just a small amount, but I think it's still kind of important to have that there. But I didn't actually uh, worked on it. I had a couple of plugins, but I should maybe recheck the overheads. Let's check here. We don't have a new comment, so we continue. The next one is, I worked on the rooms, but I didn't do too much stuff. There's an EQ, again, a removal thing, but I didn't cut anything from there. And we only have this preset that I use for compressing it a little bit. This is from prayer position mix. When I was learning mixing with that, I took that as a preset, and since then I don't change too much stuff except how much I sent to compression, and I try to balance it afterwards. But overall, this processing doesn't do much, but it's kind of important still. It's pretty good for snare, but besides that, I mean, it's not a huge effective move, but I still move it up a little, so it's also important to have this live sound. So the next one will be, probably most of you guys want to see the orchestra, but I'm gonna put it to last because that's the thing that will take most of the time. And one important thing, I am starting with the original sound, meaning that, I mean, you're seeing right now 6 different tracks here, but I only use 2, and there's a reason. Rob Wanderloo, while tracking this song, was using Stingray, and groove bass have a pretty different sound than Stingray. And for that reason, I reached to my friend Sammy. You know him as Rewound. And thanks to him, I accessed the nocturnal bass, and I have 2 exports. One is DI, so I can process it, but I didn't. And one is the distorted sound coming from the preset. And it was pretty helpful in that regard. I also tried Logic Bass, but there was too much things I wanted to change and also process. I thought it's not good for me, and Nocturnal Bass, sorry, not intentional. You know, you already know it. I cannot control it, sorry. Nocturnal Bass is really kicking, and I really like it. Shout out the Submission Audio. And I am using these. I leveled them. I normally use the game plugin for that, but I don't know why I did it. I think I was just trying to hear it, and I just did that move. So you're gonna hear the bass on the chorus section only. Yeah. I have a Pro Q3 here, which is sidechain to kick, and I cut that root frequencies from the kick, and I pushed a little bit afterwards, the next area, which is 100, and I cut the build up, and like any other metal bass, I just pulled the middle around 400s. I did a small cut, and these are probably after hearing. I just put them. Normally I am not noting every single move I did, but what happened? making it just a little bit more present. I'm gonna leave it. I don't know why I put it at the first place. We have the metal bass preset from Virtual Mix Track, which is kicking an ass. And I didn't change too much stuff because I really like it, but I definitely changed it when I used the groove bass. It just worked out of the box. And I worked on the compression values again, but besides that I didn't change much. Normally I move the attack a little bit to act faster and tame it a little bit more, but since it's programmed, it's already not so dynamic because I'm not a bassist. I just programmed it in a way that a human could play, but it should be a very angry human because I pushed it a little bit too much. The next one is the virtual tape machine. As always, I put it here as well. Not wondering why, because it works. It's make it much better. And we have the soothe. I'm gonna talk about this. I have a lot of soothe in bunch of tracks, and the reason is I never ever claim myself to be a good mixer at all. And when I do this moves and use soothe, there's a pretty good reason. It is all about creating space, and doing it requires a lot of knowledge, know-how, but at the same time you need to know how every single thing works. You gotta listen in the mix. You need to do group mixing, like 3 or 4 groups. I'm gonna mix rhythm guitar, bass, kick and snare. Then I will add drum bass against bass and synth. And if you do these group mixing, you will much easier to detect the clashing areas, and you can work against it. And alternatively, if you have soothe like me, and like in a video of Kian Hoshman, if you watch that, if you didn't, just please do after the live stream, or if it's not a live stream for you, just watch this one, and after that you can go. Anyway, the thing is, soothe is doing an incredible job on an intelligent dynamic EQ, which is pretty easy to set up, pretty easy to use. And when I put it everywhere, I can easily open up the mix by changing a couple of knobs and doing a side chain. It is pretty important for me, because if the orchestra is clashing with a rhythm guitar, which did in a certain section, all I need to do is put two soothe instances, one on rhythm guitar, one on orchestra, or violin sections most of the time, and sidechain against them. And depending on where you wanna work with, for violin sections I put after 2K, I think. If anything happens on violin, I pull the rhythm guitars. Vice versa, before 2K, what happens is rhythm guitar is prioritized and violin section is kind of dynamically equalized to reduce clashing frequencies. So I basically created 2 instances, 2 filters, which are side chained to each other and creating space for each other. So of course, if you're, I don't know, certain mix pro, I'm sure you are fixing a lot of stuff beforehand in the source while doing the EQ, and after that you're using things like this to open up your mix. I'm not a professional, I never ever claimed to be, and I use soothe, and it makes everything easier. And on this one, whenever kick is hit, I create space for the bass where the kick's root frequency and around is ducked. So if you hear it, and it's pretty useful because I can put a sidechain multiband compression or a sidechain EQ. I can do all of these, but I can do it intelligently here. And at least this one doesn't have to be intelligent because it's a pretty simple move. But for other instruments like the whole orchestra section or string section, rhythm guitar, rhythm against clean ambient guitars, this is they're mid-range instruments, and most of the time they're clashing, and whichever tone you are using, it will create more problems or less. And when I use soothe, depending on my mistakes and the source, I can actually fix them pretty easily. So before the orchestra, I want to talk about two things. I didn't add any impacts or effects yet, and I think I don't need it because orchestra controls it pretty well. And at the same time, I want to add it, so I don't know what to do yet. It totally depends on if it's gonna serve the remake or not. And I want to check the rhythm guitars with you next. I want to talk about it, then I will talk about all the other orchestra elements that I put, also the choir, which I will take out probably. I can maybe record myself, or maybe it can stay, and my friend who I'm gonna do this collaboration with can come up with a little bit more samples that may work as a choir. So I wanna check if there's a new comment, and there is no new comment, meaning that I can actually continue. By the way, if anyone's watching, just like it, like the stream, because that could be pretty helpful. Some other people who are interested on this kind of stuff can be can actually, you know, what's the word for it, they can see it basically. The next step is rhythm guitars. So of course I tracked them, I didn't program them. Such a shame. And what happens here is I actually didn't track them well, and I'm okay with it because I track section by section to make it a pretty clean remake. I'm not claiming that it's the cleanest tracking, but still I think it worked fine. I may processed it a little bit too much, but I will recheck it. So what happens here, for the first time ever in a cover or a demo or whatever, I am not using a Neural DSP plugin because they don't have a suite where there's a dual rectifier. And I checked Epica rig rundown videos from like 10 years old videos, and they were using these dual rectifiers. I set it in the modern state, and after I put it, it felt right. I put a tube screamer in front, and we also have a small noise gates. And for IR, there's this IR loader which is doing 2011 cap edge with 65 mix. This one is close, so I'm not going to talk about it. This one is from the King's Cap. Shout out to the King's Cap. It's Mesa 4x12 with V30s in it. So it felt pretty right. I put one more here, noise gate, just to clean the empty sections, you know, the silent muted sections. That's why I kind of put it. It was beneficial, so I remember I put it just there. This is the exact same with the right guitar, so I'm not going to talk about it. And interlude lead is basically 2-note, and I don't want to talk about that. I mean, there's actually nothing there, but I enabled the reverb, so that's the only difference that you will hear. So that's how it's going to sound in a bit, and hopefully it'll be interesting for you. Right now, let's start with this one. I did a small mid cut around 350. I just cut this area, kind of. It works, and it's a habit of me. I took the harshness, not too much though. I got the build up, and since bass will follow most of the time the guitar, I also took a little bit more here because I want to glue them together in the instrument bus. And again, the main area, I pushed it just a little bit. And next step is the multiband compression. Pretty simple and basic, and I use it for taming the low end. Everyone does that, so there's actually not much to talk about. We get a bit of EQ and compression. I changed both. It's not same with the preset. It's kind of important to have this compression here. And the next step is we have a couple of suits. This one is against the orchestral section. As I mentioned, it just helps me to create space for the orchestra. And the next one is the guitar spike, that's from Nolly, and I just use it and it smooths it, takes out the harsh frequencies, and it makes it much better. That's why it's to go basically. And I again taped it. And the last one is just a gain for the staging. Actually, I didn't put too much processing over it. I thought it would be a little bit too much. So yeah, we're gonna disable everything and edit one by one. Yep, sounds like this. And there's not much to talk about. The rhythm guitars, I automated the shit out of them. That's important. So, the biggest piece of the puzzle. So we have a lot of things to talk about here. As I mentioned, I started pretty simple here. I'm not using woodwinds. I should actually use it one place. Where is it? Ah, yeah, here. Let's open it. I actually started pretty simple here because normally I hate to reinvent the wheel. That's why I use mostly presets. That's why I use most of the time the same ideas, because I am always in the same safe area, which is the metal genre, which I know, which I mixed, I made, I composed. So that's why the moves that I mentioned in this, I don't know, past 1 hour and a half, I have no idea. It's all pretty similar with the demo, but at the same time I'm trying to make good guesses. I try to hear all the stuff as good as possible. So yeah, that's kind of another disclaimer. The next step is the violin. Okay. The whole violin section, like 60-70% was wrong. I have only this one, which is a very nice arpeggio that highlights the progression, and it is followed by these viola section, which is again interesting. Normally I thought I can change this viola could do the arpeggio, but it's a little bit higher, so I just gave this role to violin. And for the orchestra, by the way, let me open this. We have this channel EQ which does a cut and a small boost. I just saw that from Connor's video, the last one, and I just use it that way. As I understand from Connor, he does this, he sent this orchestra bus to mix bus, not instrument bus, and he does a cut to create space for rest of the mix, which will be the guitar and drum bass and the bass. And we got a soothe here. I referenced, sidechain that to rhythm guitars, and I create a space for guitar's main frequency. Since this is a rhythm guitar, I think it's safe to say that. And we have the state machine again, my beautiful treble. And the next one is gain, which is to balance things out. And I don't know why soothe is here. And this is against, that's interesting. This is against the mix bus. I just want to create this dynamic spacing for the instrument bus. I don't want the orchestra just, you know, I don't want it to barely be audible, but at the same time I don't want orchestra to go in front of the mix bus, instrument bus, especially drum bus. But I didn't do it against the drum bus because I did kind of full spectrum, very small amount of very selective processed small dampening, and that's why I will be able to control this orchestra bus. I put everything as it is. I didn't change anything on the instances, which is actually, and let me talk about it. This is Audio Imperia Nucleus, and I'm pretty happy with it. If you're using it, the sample start is pretty important. Just take care about this one. Normally it starts 250 milliseconds before, so you either need to move your MIDI back or alternatively change the sample start. This is very important. I just made it 0. It makes it a little bit virtual. It takes out of that analog first breath, especially for the brass section, but I'm fine with it because I don't want too much trouble. Not treble, trouble. And that's about it. Sometimes I change the reverb. I didn't do it for this one, but it's really good to have this internal reverb here, because otherwise I have to close every single reverb exists in the orchestra bus. Then I need to create another reverb bus just for orchestra purposes. But this one I think works much better. So I am closing this one. I already talked about the orchestra bus. There's not much going on. There's a lot going on, but compared to mix bus, instrumental bus. So for the strings, we have an EQ again, cleaning the build up. We don't have anything around here. I have a small compression. I did it up top because this is kind of a guess move. Normally I have this vocal processing tutorials that I watch, and they're always using LA2A, and I realized that since it is kind of in the same role, at least as an instrumental piece, violins should be processed with this opto, but it's not like I know orchestra mixing. It just sounded right. It felt right. It definitely sounded good. That's why I put it. And I have this soft distortion. I saturated a little bit so it's going to be more present in the mix without, you know, working on the gain. And next one, the gain itself, which was kind of required. I also did some automation. We're gonna come to that. And next one is just soothe against the snare. Whenever we hit it, I just damp it back because I don't wanna. I'm gonna do the same exact move I like for rhythm guitar as well, because I don't wanna push the snare just because it's inaudible. I wanna create a space for the snare hits, and I normally do it with Pro C2, and I sidechain the snare and I do a small cut, like almost a dB every single time the snare hits, and it really works well. I kind of do the same with bass and toms, but I think it's kind of fine as it is right now. And strings sound like this. The thing is about this area, I think I need to put some legato, but I'll think about that. Small mental note. There are 3 choruses, so if I change on one, I have to do it for the other ones as well. What I do here, these are the technique changes from staccato to legato and do a full sustain. And I also automate, this is volume, I also automate here. Where the hell is that? I think I need to click here, right? Okay. Is it gonna work this way? No. Interesting. I think I'm clicking somewhere wrong, because for the MIDI I have a lot of moves that I did, but I am actually unable to. Okay, this is track, this is region. Okay, now it's okay. So I did these automations to modulate the movements, the feel, you know, with the sustain we lose a bit of volume, the timbre changes, timbre is not changing, but the volume wise is changing, sorry. And that's why I did these automations, and I think it paid off well. So these are the moves that I'm doing. I mean, between there's nothing happening, so this sounds looks a little bit stupid, but the rest is kind of a controlled move. And between sections, if you're going chorus, I'm going up because, you know, everything is kind of put back together, everything is pushing, chorus has the maximum energy, but besides that I just go with the flow. With the sustain I decrease the volume, and that's why we have this modulation stuff. Every single thing, I mean, French horn, just where's the other one? It has it. For the other stuff, we have it everywhere. As you can see, we are going high with the choruses. The last chorus has maybe I can increase it a little bit, but we have it everywhere. That's why I put automation to every single one of them. It is making it a little bit harder to mix in a good way. By the way, it's more dynamic, but I also need to do some small compression, a little bit different moves, maybe automate the volume to bring it a little bit more, even if by itself it's more dynamic with that modulation automation. I still need to work on a little bit, push it a little bit with the volume, and that's why it's kind of important to talk about. And that's the string section. By the way, when I click here, I don't like what's happening. Okay, Okay, did I cut it well? Yeah. I don't want to have that. Okay. And it sounds like this. The next one, I didn't use Shelly here. I put it, then I could cut it back. Double bass had the same. I just removed it. I'll remove this MIDI stuff, but I keep it because they were the reference coming from the Guitar Pro. That's why you can see how they suck with the double bass coming up with this insane arpeggio, which is not so ideal, or actually not ideal at all. Next one is brass section. It's highly silent. I just use it as a timbre, and if that's a term for orchestral production or processing, I really don't know, but it's like augmentation for the string. It's like a supporting layer. I heard it on a last course, so maybe I can do a big automation move, like increase like 15 decibels, but on a French horn. But besides that, it's just working as a supporting layer. Everything have the exact same notes, movements, kind of same modulation, automation. I did it again manual, but still they are kind of working similar basically, and therefore working for different frequency bands. Tubas are lower. So that's why I also acted accordingly. By themselves, they sound like this. They sound like this. So for the woodwinds, I only have a flute move, which sounded okay because when I opened the song and listened that section, it sounded like there's a woodwind movement, a fast one. So I just moved it to flute. The other instruments didn't feel right, so I only kept it for that. It wasn't only a violin move when I write it, but when I moved it, it felt a little bit better. And next one is timpani. Timpani is present on choruses and the intro and the outro. And it works as an impact, also a riser. And I really like it. I can even use that in my own songs. I really liked it. And what we have here is just a build up. I won't even, talk about it too much, just solo and show it to you. And it works damn well. We have the choir, but before that I will talk about the taiko drums. This is just from Logic. I'm so glad that I have it, because without it, it wouldn't be good for me. This is, the middle section, the bridge section, and when I play it, you're gonna only hear the rights and this one, and of course Simone if she sings. Choir. And if she sings, And the choir works like this. Does basically nothing because I didn't plan anything on them yet. I'm saying this because I can maybe record my own, or I can get it from my vocal collab friend. That's me. Hopefully in the future I can talk about her, but right now I'm gonna make it a surprise. You should be excited about that. So that's how choir sounds. These guys are pretty good. This Audio Imperia Nucleus is pretty damn good, and I really like it. I can just put the sample rate like 250 level, the original level, to make it more real, actually real. But I force it and I cut the first part by pushing it to 0 millisecond sample rate. It's not sample rate, sorry, sample start. Yeah, that's the choir. I think it can stay as it is. If I put it, no one will care. I also don't care too much because it sounds good. If it sounds bad, I would definitely think about it, but I think it's fine. And with the choir, we have the whole choir, and the choir actually works like this. This one supports and works as a bass most of the time, and this one, the short ones, it's only for high, like female and child vocals, I guess. Basically here it says sopranos, but I don't know who recorded that. So when you isolate, it sounds female vocal to me. Yeah, and the whole orchestra sounds exactly like, sorry, like this. I just wave my hands like I can conduct, but of course not. Yeah, that is about it with the whole mix basically, and the whole instruments. When I add Simone, it sounds like this. So yeah, I am pretty happy with the result. Again, I think that some of the moves that I need to do will change the sound that I'm looking for, like the snare reverb and the master bus processing, and moving the mix bus plugins for glue compression to instrument bus, taming the snare that way, and putting all the buses like drum bus, rhythm guitar bus, bass bus, and the last one is orchestra bus, pulling them back and removing the trimmer. These are the things that I want to do so far. And this is the mental note that I put myself, maybe also changing the envelope on the toms. And after that I want to just, roll with it. I think it is already a pretty decent cover. If I put it even like this, it'll be, solo project, Epica remake, like the best one. I'm pretty sure of it because I checked every single source tone. Then I went for processing. I checked all the Wikipedia credits, who programmed or played what, and who mixed that. And all those details are kind of important when you're working on something like this. A simple remake is you put your own drum plugin, bass plugin, whatever do you have, and just program it and mix decent and send it. But if you want to do it well, you check the source tones, who used what, and you try to get a similar tonality out of it. You try to understand, is it violin, is it viola, what plays what, who plays what in which sections. And things like that kind of important, and I think this project nails it. So what I want to do is, I can actually, in this stream, I can do these changes that I am mentioning, but I think I can have another live stream where I am talking about also vocal processing, which is I'm quite stranger to, and for that I need the vocals, of course. And I will also do the changes that I just mentioned, and I will fix the automation moves that I'm thinking, especially for the bass, because I want to push that a little bit more. And I will use a couple of limiters for maybe the violin and the rhythm guitar, but it's just an idea, another experimentation, because every single project that I use for remaking, for covering, for making my own demos, like on the other live streams that we did, it's always something new. I see something on Instagram, I see something on YouTube, I want to check that. And the projects that I already have, they are set to a certain sound. They are already finished products, and I don't want to do experimentation on them. And for that reason, wherever I am making something new, I try my best to come up with these new ideas. Maybe it's not good, maybe it's not a good fit for the mix that I'm working on, but still, at least it gives me the result. It gives me the result effect. For example, I was watching this Hertzstrom's videos, one of the last ones. They were talking about compression, and the main guy, I'm sorry, I don't know his name. He was talking about in modern metal mixes what kind of compression settings they are using, like fast attack, slow release, and for vintage rock drum processing, they're going for this slow attack, fast release kind of setting. And he was also talking about compression types pretty briefly, and it was kind of interesting to learn that as well. Since this is a metal mix, I haven't touched anything, I didn't change the presets, I didn't change the compression moves, because it felt right to me and to my ears. And that's why sometimes I just add this new stuff. If I like it, I use it. If I don't like it, I don't. It's totally up to me. And to me, if it sounds good, it's done. So I just want to talk about this stuff. I'm gonna let you listen for last time. I will check if someone's watching and have a question. And we don't have a question. Then I will close this window. and I will play it for one last time, and I make sure that you're hearing everything fine, and I will close my microphone and I play it right away. Actually, I will play it once for, doing small moves, not moves. I will mute certain areas, and I will add the vocal, and I won't touch anything. Then you're gonna hear it with Simone's beautiful voice. So let's start. I'm muting Simone, and we're gonna hear the whole instrumental mix. For once, I'm just gonna solo the drum bass, I'm gonna solo the orchestra, I'm gonna solo the bass and rhythm guitar, and so on. Now that was the full mix without the vocals, and again, I think the mix is not finished. So the next step is having the Simone as guests and using the vocal strip from here. Again, I will be completely silent, but this time you're gonna hear everything. And of course, in this vocal strip there are a lot of back vocal leftovers and maybe something from the guitar. And even though these splitters are pretty successful, I don't want to use this because there will be a collaboration, but at the same time I just want to let you hear with the vocal because it's kind of important. And if I remember correctly, I put some gain here and send it to the instrument bus, mix bus already, so we are kind of fine with that. But there's of course no moves, it's just Simone's vocals. So I'm gonna mute myself for the last time. You're gonna hear the whole mix including Simone's vocals, and after that we're gonna say goodbye to each other. But I hope you will like this one, and I will do the changes I think required and act accordingly, and hopefully.
And always the first thing to fade. Years are cruel that break us, bringing on decay and despair.
And that is all, folks. This is the mix with Simone, and I hope you liked it. I just want to talk about, I mean, it's like a mix rundown, but as I mentioned, mix is not fully finished, it's almost finished, and without with only instrumental, I am doing my best to complete all the automations and everything possible. And when the vocals arrived, I will add them as a new layer, new bus for back vocals and for main vocals. Then I sent them to the vocal bus, not bass. And we're gonna kind of change the mix bus a little bit, and we're gonna add some automation, and we will conclude with the mastering. So in each step doing this mix bus and master bus changes, I'm doing it for this experimentation reasons. I have more time on the mix and judging my moves. So besides that, I think it is, even as this one, more than ready to be shared. But that's gonna wait a little bit more. You're gonna hear this like at least a month later, if not two. But I can assure you it's not gonna be longer than that. So yeah, thank you so much for joining. And I know not everyone is, joining the live streams and such. So if you're watching this after the live stream, all I can say is, if you have any question, just put it in the comment section. I'm Yasin. I'm a bedroom, actually living room artist, and I'm doing cool stuff that I like, and I'm glad hopefully you watch this far. But if not, even if you skipped it, thanks for coming here, watching a little, try to understand what the hell I'm doing. And I will put timestamps on this one at least. On the other ones I didn't put it because I did everything at once, so it was kind of messed up. But on this one, since it's a rundown, I started with the drum bass, then I changed the bass, then I showed guitars and finished with the orchestra. So it's a little bit more structured, so I will put timestamps, and hopefully at least some of you guys will realize that it's not a magic and I'm referencing. I try to put the stuff that makes sense, and I try to make it as close to the mix as original mix as possible. So that's it. Thank you so much. If you're here, you can check my music and my videos as well. I make a lot of stuff, modern metal covers and original music, and also lo-fi alongside modern metal. And if you want to check me out, just subscribe and then start digging, because there are at least 200 videos, and I'm pretty sure that you will enjoy almost each one of them. So thank you so much, and hope to see you on the next live stream, or like the next whatever, because I will do my best to come up with cool stuff in the future as well. Yeah, that's about it. So that being said, I am touching the button to end the stream. Thank you so much for coming, saying